at the forefront of politics.
Our enemy is Trump. He is the enemy. We got to unite. If we're not a united party, we lose to Trump.
On the front lines of activism.
There's certain fights. If we don't engage, they win. This is a fundamental question of who we are.
And delivering your daily dose of comedy.
Donald Trump, when he had his physical, they had his blood pressure, and mine is higher than his. Oh. And the irony is mine is higher because of him.
From the blue wave.
We flipped. Enough seats to take control of the House. We control the House.
To 2020 and beyond. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress, Channel 127.
And welcome to Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live right here, Tuesday, March 3rd. I'm Dean Obeidallah, as always, hoping to be your MBFF, because I'm the neediest Muslim out there. Hope you're well. I want to thank Joe Sudbay for hosting yesterday. I was out yesterday. My fiance was their closing night of her play down in Washington, D.C., 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. So I went down to, and interestingly, today, Donald Trump hung out with one of the Taliban leaders. And I'm sure they bonded over how badly they both treat women. Because we're selling out the women of Afghanistan, and Mike Pompeo, whose wife, I'm not kidding, came to the closing night, Sunday night, at the theater I was at, and to see this play. And Pompeo has said they're not going to do anything with women's rights in Afghanistan nor push for democratic reforms. That's up to negotiation between the Taliban and the Afghan government. So, then again, why would a right-wing guy like Pompeo care about women's rights when what we see in this country? So let's talk today's Super Tuesday. Obviously, 14 states up for grabs. It's a huge night. We are going to talk about that. We have surrogates on from two different campaigns, from Bernie's campaign and from Liz Warren's campaign. We're trying to get a Biden person, but tomorrow we're going to actually have, if all goes well, the press secretary for Joe Biden on the show tomorrow. So all the three top candidates will be covered on the show in the next two nights. I do want to talk for a little bit, though, to update on the coronavirus. I was out yesterday, obviously, and I wanted Joe to make sure to tell people I'm not sick. I'm just out for a day for a personal thing. But a couple of things happened this afternoon I want to share with people. There's no spin in this. There's no politics. Here are the facts. This is simply the facts here that developed in the last few hours. And again, I'm not sharing this to scare anybody. I'm just sharing this so people are all on the same page, knowing what's going on, because I want you to have the facts. And you're not going to get that from Trump. That's the only spin I'm going to say in all of this. You know you're not going to. So let me give you some of the facts that developed today. Again, not to scare anyone, but this is the truth. The World Health Organization said today that the mortality rate caused by the coronavirus is not 2% as they once thought. It is 3.4%, meaning the coronavirus is 30 to 35 times more lethal than the flu. So if you hear anybody say whatever, they just don't know better, they go, oh, it's just like the flu. It's not. It is now, according to the World Health Organization, as of 2 p.m. Eastern Time today, 3.4% of those diagnosed with the illness globally will die. Now, obviously, it skews differently based on age. Your chances for death go up. If you're older, you have a compromised health condition. And if you're living in a country without a really good infrastructure of healthcare, I imagine those numbers will go up, but here's on the average. And before this, it was 2%. So now, again, it's 3.4%. As of a short time ago, there are about 91,000 reported cases worldwide, including 3,110 deaths. Chile and Argentina reported their first infections. And death toll in Italy jumped from yesterday to today to 79, 27 deaths in one day. Some of the ways these other nations, I'll get to America in a second. Some of the ways other nations are dealing with it. Japan closed their schools as of a few days ago for a month. The UAE, United Arab Emirates, today announced all schools and universities will be closed for a month. Iran, this is kind of unique. They freed 54,000 prisoners to avoid the spread of the disease in prisons. I never even thought about that, but I guess it makes sense. They didn't confine spaces like a prison. If you get sick people, it can run through that horrifically. So I don't know how they picked the prisoners, but that is the most stunning kind of change. 54,000 prisoners released in Iran to just prevent, because they're having a real spike there in deaths and in sicknesses. In the United States of America, update, and this is sad news, the number of Americans who have died from the coronavirus has now gone up to 9 people. It had been 6, but now it's 9. We don't know how many people have the coronavirus in America. This is the truth. They've not done widespread testing. It is beginning now. estimates are over 100 people in 15 states have the coronavirus. In Washington State, obviously, New York State today, a second person confirmed. You have Florida, Illinois, Texas. A short time ago, a few hours ago, North Carolina confirmed their first case of coronavirus. That's the place Donald Trump had his rally last night. And before he went there, he was asked about it because it's very safe to come to my rallies. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping no one gets sick. I've told you before, I've been rooting for Donald Trump to do the right thing from day one, because this is about lives. This is not politics. This is not Russia, Ukraine. This is not impeachment. This is real lives of our fellow Americans. And I think it's the unknown part that makes it scary. And I don't want to add to that fear, but I have to read to you something else the World Health Organization said today. Public health officials are operating in, quote, uncharted territory, close quote, as they combat the spread of the disease. It is never good when the World Health Organization, talking about the spread of a virus, uses terms like uncharted territory. But they use that term today. And at the same time, doubling literally the mortality rate to 3.4%. So I am not fearful for myself. I think most people, some could be concerned if you have a compromised health. I understand that. I've spoken to several people about that. I think generally it's for our loved ones, for people, your good friends. What could happen to them? And it's not about surviving. It's surviving without your loved ones that I think is the more painful prospect for everyone out there. And we don't know how this is going to end. We have no clue where it's going to go. That was what I just gave you, all facts. No opinion, no politics. Now I'm going to talk politics for a few minutes, but based in reality. Making all of this that I just read to you worse is the fact that we have, as the President of the United States, a serial liar who continues to lie about this to tell people not to be worried because he thinks it's going to hurt his reelection, and Americans are getting sicker and they're dying. And he did it again yesterday twice. And it angers me to no end because that's not what a real leader does. A real leader makes it clear, here's the risk, I'm going to deal with it, don't panic. But does not lie. You know who lies? The leader in China lied about the disease. They clamped down on the media who try to tell the truth. Now, what Trump did over the weekend, he can't clamp down on the media. He tweeted calling NBC, CBS, the whole list, everyone but Fox News, enemies of the people because of the reporting of the coronavirus. So Donald Trump is doing exactly what the leader in China, exactly what an authoritarian does. That's what he's doing. And so what did he do? Yesterday, they had a task force meeting. Good idea. They had it with Big Pharma there, but that's what you got to deal with when you're going to try to do vaccines. It was Donald Trump, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, a respected man with over 35 years of experience in this area, and pharmaceutical executives there. That's a good thing. You're going to have a meeting, talk about the virus, talk about development of potentially a vaccine, a treatment that can actually work, a treatment protocol that will work to even save the lives of older people or compromised health people. What happened at the meeting? Well, Donald Trump said, and I'll play the clip for you in a second, I'll summarize this briefly. He said a vaccine is going to be ready soon. Any day, really soon. Dr. Anthony Fauci corrected him there with the cameras in a respectful way. It said it's going to be more like a year to a year and a half. And I want to play this, and I'll play it from Erin Burnett last night on CNN because she did a great job just around it. So let's have her explain this, and you'll hear the audio. First is Trump, then Dr. Anthony Fauci correcting Trump in front of the cameras and the pharmaceutical executives. And I will remind you, last Wednesday at his press conference, Donald Trump said a similar thing, that we're going to get a vaccine soon. But this time, Dr. Fauci corrected him in real time. Here's clip number 1, please.
Numbers increasing as there are alarming contradictions on coronavirus coming from the president and the scientists at the CDC. Trump today came out and said a vaccine is just a few months away.
I've heard very quick numbers, a matter of months, and I've heard pretty much a year would be an outside number. You're talking about 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months, a year, an outside number. That is not what the scientists in charge say. Only seconds later, in fact, the head of infectious diseases at the NIH had to stop President Trump from continuing to suggest that a vaccine is going to be here in a few months.
Would you make sure you get the president the information that a vaccine that you make and start testing in a year is not a vaccine that's deployable? So he's asking the question, when is it going to be deployable? And that is going to be at the earliest a year to a year and a half.
So there's Dr. Fauci, very clear, year to a year and a half. He was told that before last week's press conference, but he said no, a few months. There, the doctor did not challenge him in front of everyone. He did it nice, respectful way here. So that the media, and in turn the people here, it's a year to a year and a half. So Donald Trump there lied, saying, I hear people saying 4 months, like he always says, I've heard this, or people are saying. But in any event, you heard Donald Trump get corrected by Dr. Fauci right there. Tell him in front of everyone yesterday afternoon, a year to a year and a half. And what does Donald Trump do? He goes to his North Carolina rally and lies to the people at his rally. After hearing this from Dr. Fauci, he goes and lies to his supporters who cheer this lie because they think the president who they love won't lie to them because he cares about their family. He doesn't want them to die. But he lies. And here's Donald Trump last night. And again, he was just told a year and a half is really what's going to happen. Not a short time, not a few months, a year and a half. Here's Trump last night, clip number 2.
Today, we met with the big, great pharmaceutical companies, and they're really working hard and they're working smart. And we had a great meeting today with a lot of the great companies, and they're going to have vaccines, I think, relatively soon. And they're going to have something that makes you better, and that's going to actually take place, we think, even sooner. So it's a lot of good things are happening.
A vaccine relatively soon, and something sooner that's going to make you better. No one has shared they have any breakthrough on something that's going to make you better. But Donald Trump said relatively soon. He knew it's a year to a year and a half. No one believes relatively soon is a year to a year and a half. Most people, common sense, few months. But Donald Trump couldn't say that to his rally. He could not tell his minions, the people who love him that, okay, we've got this deadly virus, but in about a year or a year and a half, we're going to get you a vaccine. Because they'd be like, what? What are you talking about? You're Donald Trump. You can do anything. So Donald Trump just lied to them. But that's nothing new in this. Donald Trump's a serial liar, but I had hoped somehow in the context of lives, the context of the lives of your loved ones, my loved ones, he would not lie. That he would stick to the science here, or at least the facts. But it began with a lie, and I've played this clip before. February 10th, this disease is ravaging parts of China, and Donald Trump is asked about, are you concerned about China, and what is our plan for America? And here is Donald Trump's unfiltered response to that. February 10th, folks, clip number 3.
The virus that we're talking about having to do, a lot of people think that goes away in April with the heat, as the heat comes in. Typically, that will go away in April. We're in great shape, though.
So you had that lie. Then you had his press conference last week where we had over 60 confirmed cases. But here's Donald Trump saying we only have 15 cases. And listen to him closely, because we have 15 cases and soon it's going to be 0. Where Donald Trump knew it was not soon going to be 0, because as we've learned now from Washington Post reporting over the weekend, before that press conference, and there's no disputing this, Donald Trump was told that we had the first case in America of transmission of this disease by someone who had not traveled, meaning it was a new way of transmission, and that raised alarms to everyone. We all learned that a little bit later, but Trump knew that at this press conference. There's no disputing. He was told. And what does he say? Here he is, clip number 4.
And the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to 0. That's a pretty good job we've done.
Yeah, you've done a great job. 15 down to 0. First of all, it was not 15, but now it's over 100 with 9 Americans dead. And we have no idea where this is going. But there was Trump lying. And then it got worse than lying. He began calling the concerns that many people were articulating before on Thursday and Friday a hoax. This is from Friday night at his rally. And listen very carefully. Now, I'm not saying he's suggesting the virus is a hoax. What he's saying is the Democrats and people in the media warning him that this is a deadly virus and your response has not been effective is horrific. And Trump first at that rally patted himself on the back saying, no one has died yet. Here's clip number 8. Nina, let's play clip 8.
We have the resources we need, and so far we have lost nobody to coronavirus in the United States.
So there's Trump bragging. No one has died. And that was absolutely correct at that moment. The next day, someone died. Now 9 have died. But at that rally, here's Donald Trump on the corona hoax. Here's clip number 5, please.
The Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. You know that, right? Coronavirus. They're politicizing it. We did one of the great jobs. You say, how's President Trump doing? They go, oh, not good, not good. They have no clue. They don't have any clue. They can't even count their votes in Iowa. They can't even count. No, they can't. They can't count their votes. One of my people came up to me and said, Mr. President, they tried to beat you on Russia. That didn't work out too well. They couldn't do it. They tried the impeachment hoax. That was on a perfect conversation. They tried anything. They tried it over and over. They've been doing it since you got in. It's all turning. They lost. It's all turning. Think of it. Think of it. And this is their new hoax.
That's the actual audio, so you can hear it unedited. You can hear Donald Trump call the threat of the coronavirus a hoax, just like impeachment, just like Russia, just like Ukraine. There are a few clips I think that Donald Trump historians will look at, depending how this virus goes, and I hope it doesn't get any worse. But him saying February 10th, in April, it'll go away, that's probably one of the worst, most incompetent statements by a president in modern day, dealing with this kind of catastrophe in our face. And then him calling this a hoax is just vile and despicable. And for those who think that Donald Trump just threw it out there a hoax, no, that was actually the Trump White House messaging. Because a few hours earlier, Mick Mulvaney, the chief of staff, was at CPAC, where he used hoax about all around it and said this was just a plan by the Democrats to bring Trump down so that their base would not be concerned. That their base would not go like, oh, Donald Trump, there's something worrisome out there. Like, no, everything's fine. Donald Trump's got it all under control. Because this is just the Democrats trying to bring him down again. Here's clip number 6, Mick Mulvaney from Friday.
We took extraordinary steps 4 or 5 weeks ago. Why didn't you hear about it? What was still going on 4 or 5 weeks ago? Impeachment. And that's all the press wanted to talk about. So that while real news was happening, and we were dealing with it in a way that I think you folks would be extraordinarily proud of, and that was serving the nation extraordinarily well, the press was covering their hoax of the day because they thought it would bring down the president. The reason you're saying so much attention to it today is that they think this is going to be what brings down the president.
That was their messaging. And when someone died Saturday, they couldn't use the term hoax anymore. And now Donald Trump is out there just today tweeting, demeaning Democrats, yesterday attacking the media, on Sunday attacking the media for being literally the enemy of the people, for daring to tell the American people about the risk in front of us. Just like the leader of China. And I wish there was a way to civilly or criminally prosecute Donald Trump for anyone who dies from the coronavirus, from his incompetence. When Danny Savalas comes in the third hour, we'll talk about it. Is there at least a civil way to sue him for lying? An incompetence of a level that is horrific. Presidents can't pick their emergencies. Things happen. It's how you respond. Now, with this case, Trump could have just said there's a virus and we're dealing with it and just been straightforward about the facts, talk about what's going on with the vaccine development. But instead, he has to lie over and over and over again. And to me, that's where it goes beyond politics into the world of some kind of liability personally. There's probably not. But that's where I am so beside myself in that how can a president lie about something that's going to get people to potentially get sick or not take this seriously and then they die? And then again, I think about George W. Bush and weapons of mass destruction and the lie that got us into the Iraq War. And I realized this is a Republican theme. Lie to the American people, Americans die, and move on. Because that's what they're about. So, all right, let's take a break. We have a lot of guests tonight. We're going to take calls. We've got New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio is going to join us for a little short bit during this hour at some point to update us on the coronavirus, the second case, but also he is a surrogate for Bernie Sanders. He'll join us. And in the next hour, we'll be joined by Congresswoman Deb Haaland from New Mexico, who's one of the national co-chairs of Liz Warren's campaign. Then we'll talk to Betsy Sweet, who's running against Susan Collins in Maine. She's one of the Democratic candidates to take on Susan Collins. In the last hour, it's our friend Danny Savalas. Through that all, I will update you as polls close on today's Super Tuesday. The first poll closing 7 o'clock is Vermont. Bernie Sanders is going to win that big. It's his home state. They'll probably give us that by 7:01. But also Virginia closes then. A lot of these are going to take a long time to get responses, like results. North Carolina closes 7:30 Eastern Time. That'll take hours. Maine, Massachusetts, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, it's going to take a long time. You go through all the states. The biggest one is California, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We probably won't get the results fully. It's such a big state. Wednesday morning, maybe Wednesday midday, to be honest. But this is where we are. So let's take a break. We're going to... The Mayor de Blasio is going to join us at some point. So in between that, I'd love to get your reaction. First of all, it is Super Tuesday. Have you voted? Who do you like? What's your reaction to the establishment wing of the party? And I don't say that pejoratively. I say that that's who they are, the establishment wing of the party unifying to stop Bernie Sanders. Did it change your view of Bernie either way? Did it change your view of Liz Warren? Did it change your view of Joe Biden? And also, if you want to react to what we were talking about here with this virus and the lies of Donald Trump and how concerning that is, I'd love to hear from you as well. 866-997-4748. Can you recall a president lying about something that can result in Americans dying like this since George W. Bush did about weapons of mass destruction and Saddam Hussein being involved in 9/11? I can't. 866-997-4748. Be right back after this.
The Dean Obeidallah Show.
Whoever's the next president, we should call them the 45